Welcome back, everybody, to the Star Wars podcast, where we talk all things Marvel, Star Wars, and everything in between. Please take a moment to check our show notes to find our social media, merch, and more. Today, we are recapping Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, so if you haven't seen that, I would get out of here. And I'm here with a guy who, I don't know, do you love Christmas? I don't know. I didn't have an answer, Tommy.
Oh, no. Well, this is the second disappointment of the day because I had to bring it up. I was going to have Zarg nuts out for our guest, and Michael, you did eat all the Zarg nuts before we went on, so.
Yeah, actually, not the Zarg nuts. Tommy, I actually do have something to tell you.
Oh, no.
Turns out we are of the same parental lineage. I am your brother.
Whoa! This is the best podcast Christmas gift I could ever get.
Wow, guys, you heard it here first. Blindside Tommy. We do have a guest here today. Really excited to talk to this man. It is a good friend of ours, John Carter from the Cast of Color podcast. Super excited to have you here, John. How are you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me, Michael, Tommy. It's a pleasure to be here. I am super hyped to be on the show. Can't wait to talk, man. Got plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I followed you on Instagram for a little while. I know you're a big MCU fan,
Yes.
but I got to know specifically the holiday special. What did you like it?
I did. And, I think Guardians has a special place in my heart. And I wish our co-host Gerardo was on the show, too, because we have a special place for Guardians. We feel like it really changed the entire tone of the MCU. It gave the MCU just a very different vibe. It was one of the first places that we saw space in the MCU. So this holiday special was just, it was so... I like how it was focused on, these two characters, Mantis and Drax, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I'm a fan of James Gunn, so I'm really excited for what James Gunn is going to do with DC, and I love what James Gunn has done with Guardians. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tommy, I got to tell you, first watch through, I really enjoyed it. For me, I was like, doesn't hold up to Werewolf by Night. I still like Werewolf by Night more. But then I watched it a second time. And Tommy, I laughed harder the second time. I almost cried the second time towards the end. I thought this was a roller coaster of emotions, and I had so much fun with it. What did you think, Tommy?
I loved it. It had everything you wanted in a Christmas special. Original music, I think, right? Like, it had to be, right? Those songs are way too
specific. It was so good.
Tons of, a classic cameo. Love the Bake Man. Can't get enough of Kevin Bacon in my life. And overall, I love that we focus on two characters that don't get a ton of time in the movies yet. Drax and Mantis, and I really think they knocked it out of the park here.
Yeah, John, I want to get your takes on this because, listen, I'll be honest. If I were to rank the Guardians, Drax, Mantis were at the bottom before this. I don't find Drax particularly funny. I didn't find Mantis particularly interesting.
Oh, wow.
But this special did a lot for me for these characters. I'll be honest,
Yes.
I still don't know how sold I am on the Drax of it all. We'll get there. But Mantis is incredible. One of my favorites now.
Absolutely.
So heartwarming. What do you think of these characters before and after?
Oh, before, I think they had some chemistry in Guardians 2. I think once, Mantis and Drax just kind of started talking it up, and they clearly had this back and forth relationship. I think it was cool to see, James Gunn kind of run with that and them to be the leads for this holiday special. Like Tommy said, this holiday special was dope because the tone of it was just so Christmas, and it was the music. I mean, I love seeing Kevin Bacon. I love the musical numbers. It felt so much like an actual Christmas special. It felt timeless. It felt like it's something you can go back to and watch. But Mantis, such a relatively small role in the MCU. I mean, but I never forget, she practically put Thanos to sleep. That was pretty clutch. And she was always a smaller character. I think what I loved about this special is I think this actress really enjoyed it. She looked like she was having fun with this role, and it looked like she was given so much more to work with. We got to see a lot more levels to Mantis that we haven't seen before. Before she was kind of just very much a background character for the Guardians. You know, the relationship with Peter Quill in this really made her more at the forefront of the Guardians. Kind of like what you said, Michael. It's like they were kind of more background Guardians characters, and now this special kind of put them at the forefront. And I really enjoyed them too. I think on screen those two had such great chemistry. And it was kind of like they're both like, you know, fish out of water. You know, they're not from Earth, and they steal Kevin Bacon. And I think his acting and his cameo was so natural, and I love how he was himself. It felt authentic. But yeah, Drax and Mantis. Before I enjoyed them, but now I think Drax has grown a lot more on me.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it is like very classic Christmas special, but this is the thing that James Gunn does so well. He takes a, you know, the typical genre, and then he like just twists it and melds it to his style, and I think that's so cool. You know, we get like punk rock Christmas songs. I thought that was so cool. You know, it's like it's a perspective that he's always shining light on things you wouldn't necessarily think we need, and like that's what makes him so great.
Absolutely, he's a true comic book fan. I mean, he's a true comic book fan, straight from the '80s, and you see that in his work. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if you guys are down, we will start going scene by scene here. And we open on a little animated segment. Tommy, I want to ask you about this real quick. I'm not like a big, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of holiday specials, right? The only one I can think of is the Star Wars holiday special, which just goes to show you how big of a nerd I am. But what's interesting is that also has like an animated sequence in the middle of it. So is this like a thing for holiday specials, or is this like, was it just homage to that? I don't know.
It might have been, you know, too specific that, because I actually thought the style was a little similar too. But that being said, I do think there is like some sort of animation thing. I think it also goes back to like the old clay animation style. I would have actually liked to see clay animation here. I think that could have been pretty fun. But yeah, I think that's the thing. This holiday specials are literally like you throw everything into the pot. It's like everything works in a Christmas special. There's nothing off the table.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I was getting real nervous at the start here with how they were handling Yondu, because like Yondu's whole thing was like he has this tough exterior, but he's actually soft on the inside. And they were like, just like Yondu's so mean and he ruined, like he's the Grinch. And I was like, I feel like you're really shitting on the grave of Yondu, for lack of better terms. Obviously, they come back around by the end, but I don't know. Yeah, John, what do you think of the little flashback we got here?
Oh yeah, they absolutely open with Yondu painted as the Grinch. I mean, he literally like picked the tree up and threw it down. I think that was kind of them just having fun with it, kind of just showing that he is kind of symbolic of just the person who ruined Christmas for Peter Quill. But the animation, like you guys were saying, I think Tommy mentioned it would have been dope to see some clay animation. I never even thought of that. I think that shit would be cool too. I think it was cool just to see that opening. It was different. They came back to it at the end. So I did enjoy that part. And I thought, Yondu, the actor who plays Yondu, I think he's hilarious. So I really enjoyed that whole bit. It was a lot of fun.
I also in this special, or in this like little segment, I believe there's a gift with the name Taserface on it. James Gunn loves Taserface. I just need he is obsessed with. He's trying to make Taserface a thing, and it's not a thing. James Gunn, Taserface will not be a thing.
I don't even know what Taserface is.
The guy in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the weird bad guy that takes over the ship after Yondu.
Yes, and Rocket makes fun of him, and he had his nice little appearance in Guardians too. But you're right, Tommy. I don't think that's any Taserface ain't gonna take off.
I will say this is going to be a theme throughout. I just gotta admit this up front here. I haven't seen Guardians 2 since the theater, so my memory of it is very bad. The reason I didn't see it is because I didn't love it as much as the first, and I'll rewatch the first one all the time. I just haven't rewatched the second one, so I've got some questions maybe for you guys later about some stuff and see how accurate things are. But yeah, so next year, this is what we get. It's Kraglin who's explaining the story to Drax and Mantis, and Yeah, so they're kind of upset about that. We also get John, I want to get your opinion on this. Cosmo's here, which this was I love to see Cosmo. And Cosmo is played by Maria Bakalova, who is in Borat 2. And I don't know why. That just, I mean, to be honest, that chick's incredible. She's great in Bodies.
Yes.
And here she is now, like, just absolutely love that she's in the MCU. And what a fun role. What do you think of Cosmo?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was a great addition. And these Guardians characters, I feel like they just have such a wide range. I mean, it's like they come from different parts of the universe, they're different species. So I just love the additions that the Guardians cast has, because it's kind of sad right now. I mean, we lost Gamora, and Mantis points that out in this, and how Peter could possibly be saddened by that. So but in addition, like Cosmo, it's cool to see, because we need to see some new Guardians, some fresh Guardians characters, because losing Gamora, that one hurt, so I'm excited to just see what other characters they have. But I think it was very smooth. It was very it was just a good addition, another great addition to the Guardian. A lot of people aren't too familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy before the MCU, unless you are avidly reading comic books. James Gunn he reads comics books, so many people just weren't as familiar with who Star-Lord was, and Groot, and Drax, and just knowing who Drax is, I thought he'd be even a more formidable person against Thanos. In the comic books, he almost can keep up with Thanos. So I love seeing his interpretation in the MCU. But yes, I thought Cosmo was a great addition to this kind of Guardians world that we're seeing. The Guardians world seems so big, and I love that about it.
Tommy, big Cosmo guy? You have to be.
Love Cosmo. I mean, the whole, the original story of Cosmo is so funny. I love that they don't really even explain it, but they do give the telekinetic powers here, which, like, I'm on Cosmo's side. Rocket, you aren't doing anything. Why are you sitting here criticizing the great work that Cosmo is doing? Justice for Cosmo's there. But yeah, I think I love, like you just said, John, of like the world they're building it, and it's really fleshed out of like it's private almost. The Guardians world is private, and I think that's the one thing James Gunn has, is like the other stuff it doesn't have to care about anything else in the Marvel world. It is creating its own base, its own community. We haven't talked about, they own Nowhere now. They bought the whole planet, so that's pretty cool.
That was dope.
I think this is getting me pumped for Volume 3. I'm excited.
We'll have to get into some predictions there at the end. I got to talk about this next part, though, because not just my favorite song in the special, but probably my new favorite Christmas song. I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. This was so fun. Again, like, you get the punk rock feel. It's very funny. Like, it starts. By the way, this guy, I wrote it down. It is a hilarious name. Bezel McTalkalok, I think his name is. Very funny. I forget the band's name. This is like a band, an existing band, the old 97s or something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they killed the song. It kind of gets collectively or progressively more insane as they go, because they're getting the Christmas facts right. And then it's like, there's aliens and Santa Claus has superpowers. But yeah, this is funny.
I mean, have they been proven wrong? We think that, I'm just saying, we haven't been proven that Santa doesn't have superpowers. It hasn't been proven any of the things they said in that song. So now watch, they're going to be right one day, Michael.
Leave it to the MCU to do a superpower Santa Claus. We'll see it one day. But yeah, that song was so cool. I mean, it's just one of those things that gets stuck in your head, and it felt very much so like musical. Like, guys are over here just playing the song. Chris Pratt's kind of reacting to it and, giving his kind of like his ad libs to it. It felt very much like a musical. It felt like you're watching kind of almost like live theater. It was very fun.
Yeah, I love the line where the lead guitarist is doing the arm flail.
Yeah, he did.
Pratt's like, all right, that's pretty cool.
My favorite is like some people are like bopping their heads, but then you get Groot in the background who's just like full on like fist bumping, like he loves it.
We got a brand new Groot. Yeah, he looks like a young. I mean, he's solid, he's thick, and he looks. I mean, the CGI on Groot is really well done. I think they went all out. It looks great.
Yeah, it's like we just had She-Hulk. Why couldn't She-Hulk?
I know. I mean, it really looks like they spent a lot more time. I know it's a holiday special. It's a quick 45 minutes, but it really looks like the CGI was just so much more. Um, they just spent so much more time on it in this special. I mean, even when Mantis and I'm sure we'll get to the scene, but when like Mantis and Drax they pull up in the ship to Earth. I mean, the CGI it just looks phenomenal. I'm just like, damn, shit, it looks really good.
Yeah, the CGI was great, and I have a little throughout, and maybe at the end, if we don't get through all of them, I'll list them. James Gunn has went on a tweet storm, and he's been answering your hard-hitting questions. So he is confirmed group full CGI, all CGI there, if you didn't know already by looking. But
well, that was the other thing because, like, you know, I was looking at some of the shots of Cosmo, and it probably was like a mix of both. But like, I was like, is Cosmo CGI? And the fact that, like, you know, I can't tell is that's pretty good. So
yeah, Cosmo looked solid. Cosmo looked like it's just he looked, and that's the thing about Guardians, you know, wherever would you see like, you know, a dog just, you know, like it makes sense in the Guardians universe. It's so much fun.
Yeah. So we go back to Mantis and Drax here, and they are talking about how they're gonna fix Christmas for Peter. Mantis, this is what I wanted to ask you guys about, because you know, again, I don't have the best memory of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but finding out here that Mantis is Peter's sister, that took me by surprise. Is there like any thread that was in that movie that kind of hints to this? Or because it kind of seems weird, like, because she's involved in that movie, and like, I don't know, why is this coming up now? I was just, you know, I was wondering.
It's been a theory for a bit. A lot of fans have basically been like, is this a thing? It's never been confirmed, but a lot of people just either ran with it or didn't, because in the movie, you know, Mantis is kind of ego assistant or person there. And when he like tells the story to Peter, you see one of the women that he procreated with was the same species as Mantis. So it was like people were like, is this a thing? Is that so? To have it fully confirmed here was a shock to some people.
Yeah. I think kind of what Tommy is saying. I think that's exactly it. It was like, you know, because in the second Guardians, Ego and Mantis says, you know, I was created by my master, and Ego, I'm sure, you know, he's been all over the universe, you know, trying to you know, leave his seed everywhere he goes. So it's great that Tommy pointed out the fact that when they're showing that scene in Guardians 2 where they show all the different species that he's tried to procreate with, the fact that one of them is Mantis, I think, is really cool. But it kind of seemed like they're just like, hey, Ego created Mantis, and you know, Ego is the father of Peter, so it's just like, hey, it was very MCU-y how they just kind of just wrote that in there and ran with it. Because I was kind of, and Peter asking especially, like, why'd you do all this for me? You know, it's like, oh, it's because, you know, that's your sister. But I did not expect that at all. I didn't expect that to be in there. But, you know, it's very much MCU's way of just like, hey, it makes sense. It makes sense. So I think it was.
Yeah, and you said it here, and I know it's at the end. If we'll talk on it again, I just want to note that I really love that Peter said sister and didn't go half sister or any of that. Just, you are my sister. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. My first thought is that's exactly what she is to him. Like technically, like a half sister maybe, but yeah, it's just sister. And I love that. It was it touched the heart a lot more. Michael mentioned earlier, like the second time he watched it, especially almost cry. It's like, yeah, I mean, this one can touch your heart if you're if you're in the right moment.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so this is where we get the Zargnuts conversation. Very funny moment there. This is where they come up with the plan to get Kevin Bacon. Very fun. It's just so bonkers, so silly. But yeah, so they're gonna fly to Earth, and they're looking for Kevin. They're going into the city to find Kevin. And Tommy, I told you this, but I didn't tell you who it was. This is where a high school friend of mine is in this episode. He plays the fake Captain America.
Oh,
yeah. So
that's dope.
Yeah, Mantis came up and hugged him, and it wasn't in it much, but I thought that was kind of cool.
No, it's very cool.
Yes.
I'd be hyped if Mantis just leaped on me like that and hugged me. I'd be like, hey, that's my demo reel. Send this out. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so there's a lot of really funny stuff here in Hollywood that they're looking at. Drax, this might be my issue with Drax, because Drax has like a really tragic backstory that, like, I feel like he's not really that much of a tragic character, and maybe that's like the point, but he kind of talks about that somebody's dressed as one of the robot that killed his family.
Yeah, and now in this another James Gunn tweet, he says, "Canon, GoBots are for real. GoBots in the MC universe, they're there."
Oh my god, James Gunn is so extra for that. Just all these canon creations. It's like, because that's gonna be another little Guardians thing.
He was like, "I'm gonna go over to DC. I'm just gonna drop a bunch of canon stuff on the MCU before I leave."
For real. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so so it kind of shifts at some point where everybody starts taking pictures with them. They're getting money. They're loving it. They're having a great time. One of my favorite lines, though, is it was like a mother and son, and as they walk away from taking a picture with Drax, they go, "You got a photo with the God of War." I was like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that one was hilarious. I was hoping people would catch that because he looks looks just like it, and that whole part felt so LA. It felt so. I mean, they went from being on nowhere, then in space, and then it just felt like straight Hollywood, just Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Captain America look-alike. So it just felt straight Hollywood, and some moments kind of felt like they weren't even. I don't know. I just felt like some of the interactions were natural. Like there were really people just coming up to them. I really enjoyed that scene. It was fun.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if they went out in public and like actually filmed and like
just didn't tell people. Just
yeah, for real.
Yeah,
for real.
Just another costume pair. Like nothing to see here. But yeah. So next year, there's a really fun scene where they're going to a bar, looking for Kevin Bacon. And they end up getting drinks. Mantis is hilarious with the drinks because Mantis, first thing she does, she just licks the liquor out of it, which is kind of weird. And then she shoots it, and then she's breathing. I don't know what's happening to her. I guess it affected her body. I don't know.
Yeah, she was breathing out. I was like, "What is Mantis doing?" I didn't get that.
Yeah. But yeah, so and then there's this little montage here where they're dancing, they're drinking, and I started to wonder how many shots did they take, because there's a lot in the montage, so I counted them. Mantis had 7 shots, and it's a montage, so it kind of makes you think she might have had more than that. There's missing pieces, obviously. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, I couldn't do that, Mantis.
You wonder, we had to do the research. I wonder if they probably have low tolerance, because I doubt they drink tons of alcohol, but the alcohol, I guess have we seen them drink space alcohol? Is there a difference between regular alcohol and space alcohol?
Right. How does it treat the body? And yeah, maybe their metabolisms are different on Earth with Earth alcohol. Yeah.
Gravity affects things differently.
Yeah.
For real. Marvel will find a way.
Yeah.
Michael, in this, either before or after this, when they're on the street, did you happen to catch the photo cameo of a certain Eternals?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, they gave respect to the classic Bollywood Christmas movie starring Kingo called Kingo's Christmas.
Oh, I gotta go back and catch that.
John, this is a very pro Eternals podcast, so
is it really?
Yeah, we're big Eternals
big Eternal fans.
Oh, that's great. I think so many people in the MCU, I mean, when they start talking about the MCU, they really are quick to write off Eternals. I mean, it's just feels like many people are quick to do that. I love that you guys are fans of Eternals.
Yeah, it's we'll have to do a retrospective podcast again, Tommy, to turn people over, because that Discord we're in, Tommy, they just bully. It's so horrible.
I saw it. I didn't step in because I didn't know how to, so I just watched you get bullied. I felt kind of bad about it. Maybe the year has already been a year. We do we rewatch and we do a retrospect.
Oh, nice. That's dope.
All right, put it on the list.
Okay, got you. I'll be ready.
Okay, so they're outside the bar now. They're very drunk, just kind of laying on the street here, and they're talking about finding Kevin Bacon. And again, very Hollywood thing. This chick's like, I know where Kevin Bacon lives. She's got a star map, right? She knows where all the stars live. And Mantis has no money though, so she just she does the trance and basically robs this woman.
Essentially takes all her money. I mean, it takes all her money. I mean, that Mantis really used that throughout the entire movie. I mean, throughout this entire special. She was, yeah, she was working with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Mantis is definitely a criminal on Earth, right? Like wanted posters. I mean, how involved
kidnapping,
Yeah.
stealing. It's a lot. But yeah, so there's a couple fun things in the we kind of get the shot of the star map and like their little trail going through. But there's some celebrities in there, which I thought I don't really know all the connections. I saw John Cena, who obviously has the connection with James Gunn through Peacemaker. But then there was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Queen Latifah, and there's a couple others I didn't even recognize. I didn't.
And Margot Robbie was on there too.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So
yeah,
there you have it. But yeah, so they show up at Kevin Bacon's house and they are ringing on the doorbell. I feel like throughout this entire thing, from them like trying to get in to them actually at the door, I feel like Kevin Bacon handled it pretty poorly. Like I probably would have called the cops way sooner.
I feel like a real celebrity would have called the cops the moment they would have been like, how did this person find my house? And let me go ahead and just call the cops immediately. He was very chill about it. He believed in those people.
If someone has already discovered your address, they're not gonna like be like, oh, he told us to leave. All right, bye, Kevin Bacon. It was fun. Like,
yeah, it is his place.
They're breaking in at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you think this is Kevin Bacon's real house?
No.
Okay, too bad. It's such a nice house. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it looks like such a nice LA house. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it might be. The house number is definitely not, because the house number, Michael, was 1988, which was the year that Yondu abducted Peter. I saw this.
Oh, okay.
So credit to the internet for that one.
Thank you, internet. But a lot of stuff goes down here. They end up breaking through the window. They're chasing him. This is where they also, well, I guess even before that, they find some decorations that they really like. Mantis has a candy cane. She likes that. And then Drax finds this.
A little funny, man.
A little funny. So I thought this was really fun. And even like as they're leaving, he leaves the little funny man and he's like, oh no, I gotta go back. And they have this whole banter about like, we have to get Kevin Bacon. And he's like, I want the little funny man.
What's your favorite Christmas? Like, if you could pick one or like decoration for life.
Ooh, just a classic Christmas decoration.
That's such a tough question.
I'll start.
Yeah,
it would be the Santa stuck in the chimney inflatable where his butt's standing up, and it's like, oh no, Santa. He's
okay. Oh god, that's a good one, and that's a hell of a question.
Yeah.
It's a class. I got one. So I mean, this is kind of more of an inside decoration thing, but it's it's like the vintage dancing Santa, and it's the song. Which Christmas song is it? Oh damn it! My wife has it in here right now. It's a vintage. It's a classic dance, and his hips are really, you know what I'm saying. But that is the classic Christmas decoration every year. It's tradition. We do that, and I just started doing Elf on the Shelf. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that.
Yeah,
Elf on the Shelf. That's it. It's like every person has its own idea. It's like some people say the elf protects you. Some people say he's mischievous or whatever. But I just started with my daughter. It's like you move the elf every day. Like you wake up, you put the elf on one shelf, and you move it to the fridge. I don't know. But
how old is your daughter? Because we were talking about. I've got 3 kids, and they're all very.
Oh,
young.
Nice.
Yeah,
they're all young.
Yeah. I got twins. Our oldest is 5, and then we get twins that are 3. So I was like, is it time to do that? Do we need to give it another year? I don't know.
Oh, that's beautiful, Michael. Hell yeah, man. So we're expecting a son in March, early March. Congrats. We're expecting a son. Congrats. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. And our daughter, she's 3 right now. She'll be 4 in January. So they're gonna have a little 4-year gap in between. And yeah, man, she's ready to have a sibling. And yeah, she'd be over here. She needs a sibling. Damn it! I mean, siblings can give kids the energy that parents just cannot. You know, I'm a very active parent, but siblings are the way to go. So,
Like
yeah, Tommy, do you
Tommy
have?
and I.
Yeah. Tommy, do you have kids?
I do not. I have a cat named Pasta. I tried the up on the shelf with her. She did not. She
didn't get the concept. She doesn't
No.
understand. Yeah.
Tommy, to answer your question, I think I'm going to go with the Christmas tree. I don't have a good answer here.
There we go.
Classic. You can't
Traditional.
go wrong.
Classic right there, baby.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay. Actually, you know what? I take it back. This is a different one. You know, I grew up in a very Catholic home. My mother had the nativity scene, right? But my favorite was like putting my Star Wars action figures in the nativity scene. So my actual favorite decoration is the nativity scene with Star Wars characters.
Very specific, just nativity scene, but with Star Wars characters.
Actually, now that I think of it, I'm gonna buy my own nativity scene. I'm gonna get a baby Yoda and put it in the main. We're gonna do that.
Honestly, I bet a lot of people would buy that. You know, I don't know if it's like but like people would buy that if Disney sold that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So again, you know, I'm kind of running through a lot of different stuff here. They ended up escaping. They're chasing them down. The cops show up. Drax flips a car. A lot of funny stuff here. I don't know if like throughout this entire chase scene, if there's anything that stuck out to you guys that you wanted to talk about.
I mean, Mantis whoops their. I mean, that was just cool seeing her move. Like, oh, well, you know what's interesting was that Drax threw her over the gate at Kevin Bacon's, and then you see them bounding over. I'm like, okay, so she easily could have just jumped over the gate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Mantis was whooping those cops' ass. I was like, I mean, they just opened fire on Drax, so we got to see some of, you know, his vulnerability, how, you know, bullets just bounce right off him. I don't think he's probably never gotten bullets shot at him yet in the MCU, so it's just cool seeing that. I like seeing when characters are bulletproof. Yeah, and then Mantis was just doing some dope-ass combats, the likes of which we haven't really seen. We saw a lot of movement from her in this, and I think it was cool to see different types of movement from Mantis. I mean, and even in Kevin Bacon's house, she's like leaping and jumping, like crawling on walls. I'm like, damn, shit, that's pretty cool.
The movement there was scary, but honestly, the noises coming out of her mouth are even scarier. Calls, and I'm like, you can have whatever you want.
Yeah, no, she's maybe like Spider-Man, like straight up, like the way she jumps, the way she climbs, the way she fights. Like, I'm like, damn, why haven't we seen this from you before?
I know. So, yeah. And that's. We were talking about like the chemistry before. Like I think this bunch of scenes really showed it. And then, like, I was nervous. You know, we talked about it a bit, but they're both very not street smart. You know, they aren't very smart when it comes to street stuff. And it worked well because they're almost two different styles. I think that's what works. Is like Drax is real, like doesn't get anything. Well, I guess they both. I don't know. What do you think the difference is? How would you describe it?
It's like Drax, and you know they describe that. I love how Rocket. In the first Guardians, Rocket tells Peter, he's like, the type of species that Drax is, things go right over his head. I mean, he takes things literal. So it's like things go over his head. He's like, no, nothing goes over my head. I'm too quick. And so, you know, I that's kind of what they play off of in this holiday special. They play off the fact that, you know, he really is, you know, that literal. And then Mantis doesn't have much, because she says she doesn't have much social skills. She's only been with Ego. So now she's out here, you know, on Earth of all places. And so it was just, like you said, I mean, the chemistry that they have, it was very cool to see in that scene. It's like it progressively got better throughout the entire special. So they really work well together, Mantis and Drax.
Yeah, for sure. And like the difference in personality, but also like the fighting style too, where Drax is like full brute force, and then Mantis is much more like sleek in her attacks. So very fun pairing. So they end up catching Kevin here, and they put him under the trance, and they are flying back to nowhere. And this is when they kind of get upset because they find out that Kevin Bacon is not an actual hero; he's just an actor. And I'm curious about this because it's not just them. Like, we even get a comment from Nebula later. All of the Guardians hate actors. Like, they hate actors. They're not happy about this. Why do you think that is?
I feel like it's James Gunn being too cute about like, oh yes, let's make actors shit on actors on the acting process. But Yeah, maybe they had a bad experience. Maybe there was okay. Asgard put on a play of the Guardians because Thor joined up with them, and they put on a play. They hated it, hated the play, got everything wrong, and from that point, they hated actors.
Yeah, because that's like
That's a possibility.
Yeah, that's like the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, who are the actors in the MCU? I'm like, Matt Damon, you know.
Ruined actors.
Yeah, I think that scene was hilarious, though. You know, just them describing actors, and of course the irony of them being actors. I think it's kind of like what Tommy said. It's one of those James Gunn things. It's like, yeah, you guys are actors, so why not just talk shit about actors? I mean, I'm an actor. I know actors. You know, some actors are really cool, and others are, it's cool to make fun of them because a lot of actors are into themselves. So that's just the reality. But yeah, I think it's just one of those funny James Gunn things. I really enjoyed that scene. I feel like Kevin Bacon just kind of loosened up once Mattis put him under the spell, and he was so proud of being an actor. It seemed very organic, like his presence in the MCU. It seemed very natural, and I was like, this is cool as fuck. I mean, it went from him being mentioned because Peter Quill is an 80s kid, and now he's actually in an MCU project, and he was probably like, hell yeah, I'll do this shit. I would imagine Kevin Bacon was really excited. It looked like he had so much fun with this entire thing.
Yeah, for sure. And this scene in particular, so he's like, Mantis is like, please pretend to be a hero, and like he's putting on like the British accent. And we get this is a big one, John. I feel like you have the best to talk on this. I just would venture to guess you're a big DC fan based on what's behind you. We got the Batman drop here, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I know. I did not expect that. I mean, we got straight up Bruce Wayne mentioning in the MCU, and we've just being a comic book fan, we've had plenty of crossovers in the past, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If there's one person who could potentially pull off like a cinematic MCU and DC crossover, I think it would be James Gunn. And I mean, I think of crossovers. I think of characters like Deadpool. I think of I don't know. I mean, I think of like different universes. There's just different possibilities, but I couldn't believe. I was like, oh shit, they straight dropped, name dropped DC Bruce Wayne at that, and I thought that was cool. I think James Gunn has, he dips in Marvel and DC, so I think he just said, fuck it, I'm gonna run with that, and they were cool with it.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin Bacon's getting. I didn't love his Batman performance. I don't think he's getting the job. His
passing
the
no.
Well, Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong. Speaking of Eternals, didn't we get a DC reference in Eternals as well? I
think so too. Yeah. There was definitely a Superman. I think a Superman reference
for sure. So not unprecedented, but always a welcome sight. So so now we're going to where we cut to Peter and he hears Christmas music. He walks outside. They flip on the lights. It's very much a Christmas surprise here for him. Mantis comes down and talks to him, and then they roll out the box. And I thought this was such a fun scene because you can see on Peter's face as he gets closer and he hears somebody in the box. He's like, this is not good. But he opens the box. They have a funny exchange here. Peter's not happy that they kidnapped him. In fact, he says this.
This is human trafficking.
Yeah, I love this is human trafficking. What do you guys think about all this?
I thought this whole scene was just very funny. I thought, Peter immediately being like, this is not okay. You cannot do this. I think what was funnier in a little bit when Groot's like, I knew it was a bad idea. And what made this rolling out funny is Peter being like, I saw you. You're the one that rolled him out. You were super pumped about it, Groot. That was a good bit there. So I think what's fun about James Gunn is he is someone that does care about little details, and throughout this holiday special, especially in this scene, there are just little, you could watch this 10 times and see something else happening in the background or happening on the side.
Yeah, this part was really funny. It was just it was kind of the thing you were waiting for. You were waiting to just see how great facial reactions from Chris Pratt. He goes from being excited, you can just see it in his face that he knows something is wrong, and Kevin Bacon is saying he can't breathe, and but he's still very happy to be there. He's saying, hey guys, just can't breathe right now, but I will. I'm still happy to be here, and I thought it was hilarious, and again, just a nice shot of Groot. I think it was cool to see Groot in that scene again, and yeah, I think Peter Quill. I think even the little bit of acting that he was doing, you could see how he may be a little down just from the death of Gamora. So yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt, he had, the longer hair, looked a little more rugged. I think they're really trying to kind of run with that. Like, yeah, these guys going through it after the death of Gamora. So, yeah, that scene was hilarious, though. It was funny.
Yeah, so they end up taking him out of the trance. He runs off. Another favorite part of mine from one of my favorite, my actual favorite Guardian, Nebula, just pulls out the gun, and Peter's like, "Don't kill him." So that was fun.
What did she say? She's like, "Come here, bacon," or something. I'm like, "Oh no."
Yeah, so but Kraglin ends up getting him on the ship, and they're about to take him back, and they have a conversation here. Kraglin explains, like, listen, this, Christmas is a big deal to Peter. This is really important to him. We want to surprise him, etc., etc. And then Kevin Bacon gets a call from his wife, and he's like, "I'm gonna be a little late." Which I feel like that's like a Christmas line, like, I don't know. It's kind of a cliche, is it not, Tommy? Like I'm going to be a little late. I have to go do a Christmas thing now.
Yeah, and I felt like she handled this like incredibly. Like, she was so cool. I would not be as cool. I'd be like, I have a roast in the oven. What is happening? Where are you?
This ain't gonna work. Get your ass home. I'm like, no, you've been gone too long.
Plus, she's probably getting charged for like international calling, right? She made the call, so now she's getting an expensive bill out of this.
Apologize to my Prius Prime with money.
That's what I would say.
That'd be my response.
Yeah. So they get him come back, and Kevin Bacon sings with the band here. This again, a lot of fun here. I do want to break down, guys. I'm going to go through the Christmas gifts here. Everybody got Christmas gifts. I want to know which ones you would want, which ones you wouldn't,
Yes.
because frankly, I don't know if I want any of these gifts. But here we go. Peter gives Groot a classic Game Boy. Nebula gives Rocket Bucky's arm, which there's a funny thing about that as well with the tweets. I believe somebody asked where she got the arm, and he was like, she just went to Earth and took it from him because she's feeling Christmassy.
His direct quote, yeah, she tore it off his body because she was overwhelmed with Christmas spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was funny. Okay, and then Cosmo gives Kraglin one of those dead rat things. Mantis gives Drax a little funny man. Groot gives everybody paper mache sculptures. I think that's it though. So I gotta hear it, guys. What's the best gift? Which one do you want?
For me, the Game Boy for sure. I mean, out of all of them, it's probably the best one, and like nostalgic reasons, would love a Game Boy nowadays.
Yeah, same. I mean, if I saw that Game Boy, I would turn up. But that arm, I mean, Bucky's arm I would try to, get creative with the arm. What can we do with it? Can we row a boat? Protect us, whatever. But I think the Game Boy would have me most in the Christmas spirit.
And speaking of like Christmas movies, you could do an arm lamp, like the leg lamp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, again, just like very funny gifts here. So that was a lot of fun. But this is where we also get the very emotional scene with Peter and Mantis, where Mantis, Peter's like, well, why'd you go through all this? And Mantis is like, at this point, she's bawling. When she was bawling, I was like, fuck, here we go. But she's so sad because she's so afraid. She explains at the beginning, she's like, if I tell him this, it could like ruin our relationship. It could remind him of bad things, whatever. But she tells him, and he's stoked. And I thought this was so sweet. So, yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we talked about before. I love the sister, like just straight up sister, and just like I think Mantis really sold this scene. Very emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that. It felt so Christmas like too. I mean, like the words that Peter was saying. He was like, it's the best Christmas gift I could ever get. It's kind of a classic Christmas thing that people say. It's family and love is like the best Christmas gift I can ever get. And yeah, Mantis, just really that actress acting her ass off some more. Really just performing, and yeah, it was a very touching moment. That's one of the most touching moments in the entire thing. Kind of helps you understand why she went out of her way, for him and everything. So it's really sweet, very cute.
I was about to say this might be one of the most touching moments in Phase 4, but I don't even know if this is Phase 4 anymore. I think this is Phase 5. Technically.
For real.
I think Black Panther has the end of that. But yeah, so we also we put some respect on Yondu's name because Peter's like, that's not how it happened. But Yondu ends up opening his gift. It's a little statue thingy, but then we find out that we see that Yondu gave Peter his blasters for Christmas.
The classic blasters.
Yeah.
That was cool. Full circle.
Well, I even love the little figurine because this shows that this was the first one, and you do see this in the Guardians movie. You see this specific figurine, so it's cool that started his whole dashboard of little figurines.
Yeah,
but yeah, the blasters is also like a cool little touch there too.
Yeah. So, and I believe that's it. We do have a post-credit scene here. They're dressing Groot up like a Christmas tree, and he ruins it. And they're like, oh, now we have to do another Christmas special. So I hope that's true. I hope we get the second one next year.
Well, I mean, Bacon did say, see you during Easter. Are we going to get an Easter special from the Guardians of the Galaxy?
I can see that. I can absolutely see them doing with another holiday, maybe highlight some different characters. Easter would be soon. Gosh, wouldn't that be quick?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if James Gunn can do anything anymore.
I know. But listen, if you're a director out there, that's what you got to do. Just call your shop. Be like, all right, see you in the next one. They had to have you back then.
Yeah, the fans will demand it. We've seen it.
Oh my God, this was so much fun, guys. John, thank you so much. I probably laughed here more than I have in a long time in a podcast, so just want to joy to have you here.
Oh, thank you guys. Same. This was a blast. So many laughs, and hopefully the first of many. We hope to have you guys on our show, the Cast of Color. We're all about diversity and inclusion in the industry and film, media, all that. So
well, tell people more about that, like where they can find you guys, what social.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I got you, Michael. So you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. It's at Cast of Color. But yeah, I mean, we started this podcast just trying to highlight diverse perspectives, and underrepresented people in the industry. So yeah, that's kind of our brand, but most of our brand is really just comic books and comic book movies. So this is the best time it's like the golden age for comic book movies. It's something that we didn't have when I was much younger, when I was a kid, so but yes, follow us and give us a listen, and I can't wait to have you guys on our show.
Yeah, I think a really incredible premise for the podcast. Unfortunately, I think the most diversity we bring are mustaches, right, Tommy?
And that's enough, damn it. That's enough.
Yeah, so actually, I forgot. Do we want to do some recommendations? Tommy, do you have anything?
Listen, I'll recommend for Rebecca, my girlfriend, because I'm still, listen, we're in the last arc of Naruto. Things are for those following along, things are heating up. But it's a really long arc. It's lasting like way too many episodes. I want it over with. Anyways, but Rebecca's literally in a night. She put on a little show on Netflix from Netflix. The Wednesday series, she loved it. She watched the whole thing in one sitting.
Right, I haven't really heard any reviews about it, so I was waiting to hear some things before I started it, but that's the first review I've heard.
From the bits I walked in on, it gave me that like Sabrina the Teenage Witch show that was on. It gave me a little bit of that vibes, but she really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, I think that's a great comparison. Oh my gosh, yes, it's kind of like it feels like a coming of age kind of reboot type of thing. But my daughter watches Wednesday, and from what I know, a lot of young women, a lot of young ladies, young teenagers, this is their thing. And that actress, Jenna Ortega, I feel like this is kind of her time. She's really taken off, and that's a popular show right now. Yeah, it's a really popular show, mostly with the young ladies, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, cool. I'll throw one out there. This is a movie that came out a little while ago. It was a movie that I completely judged. It was one of those, it was around the time like they had like a Netflix movie like every week that like, just had like, that was like completely mediocre and had a big star. But there was one that came out called Spiderhead, starring Chris Hemsworth. And the wife and I sat down and watched Spiderhead. And again, like you watch the trailers, like, it's just another Netflix movie, whatever. But I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought this was really interesting. You know, it's kind of, it's, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of hand wavy. They don't really explain how some of the stuff works. So I'm not sitting here saying it's the best movie, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of twists and turns. It kind of goes off the rails at the end, which I didn't love, but it's something I watched recently that just kind of blew me away. I think you won't be bored if you check out Spiderhead, and I think that's the best thing I could say about a movie. So there's my recommendation.
I've heard some mixed reviews about Spiderhead. I'm gonna have to get that. Is that a Miles Teller in that too?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, it's not great. I'm not just be honest.
I got you.
It's not boring. I'll put it that way. John, I'll throw it to you. Do you have anything you want to leave people with?
Yes. So if I can recommend, well, I love DC, and I love particularly from DC is the animated. So if you have HBO Max or if you're able to order it, there's a new Green Lantern movie, and it's a Jon Stewart origin. And that's the latest. I forget the title, but it's Green Lantern. Some Green Lantern. I forget the name, but it's a new Green Lantern animated movie. Just came out this year. Jon Stewart is the lead. It still has Hal Jordan in it. Has some of the classic Green Lantern lore. I mean, I love Jon Stewart. I'm a Black Marine veteran myself, so I'm rooting for Jon Stewart. But yes, I recommend that. And what I rewatched recently, the entire series, was Hunger Games. The wife and I we were like, "You want to watch it?" And yeah, I remember that movie came out. That was the Hunger Games, 2012. That was the last movie I watched before I deployed to Afghanistan when I was in the Marines. And then I read all the books on my deployment in Afghanistan. So I remember the books very vividly, and I watched the movies again. We just finished Mockingjay today, Mockingjay Part 2. I love those movies. The books are even better. So for those who haven't watched The Hunger Games, I recommend it. And if you've already seen it, I recommend watching it again. I think you can enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm a big Hunger Games guy here. Read the books as well. I gotta say, Mockingjay doesn't do it for me. I really like the first two.
Absolutely. I love Catching Fire.
Yeah, it might be one of my favorite books ever. It's
so good. I mean, because Mockingjay, I don't know, 1 and 2 kind of just get kind of muddled together in a way, you know. And I don't know, maybe if it was just different, if it wasn't like Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2, maybe if they were completely different titles, they'd be more timeless. Yeah, but yeah, those are my recommendations.
There you go. All right, Tommy, anything else from you?
Nope,
that's it. All right, I will close this out.
Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas,
and Happy Holidays too.
And happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays.
Yes. All right. I like to remind you guys to rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify, preferably 5 stars. I also like to remind you guys to subscribe because we're going to be here all the time with all kinds of cool stuff, and we got cool stuff coming down the pike. Just trust me on that. We got some real cool, like. Just buckle up. Just
really buckle up.
You will be fed. That's all I will say. You'll be fed. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Hive at Star Wars Pod. Also ask us for our Discord link because we have a little Discord community going on. We'd love to have you. But that is all we got for you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.